Okay, so this is the video for putting on your 6x6 tubes. They're the ones that'll go around this outer shell. I just wanted to take a minute and show what each board should look like, right? You should have 4mm bars in all of the spots that you see them here. Sorry, the outside's a little harder to show. All right, here. And then on the other board, you should have 4mm bars in all of these spots, but also in the middle, right? That we do the middle on one board and not the other, right? So there you go with that. So now we're going to go on and we're going to put 6x6 tubes on, right? Those 6x6 tubes are going to go, and I'm just showing you this kind of quickly. We're going to show you the technique for doing it, but they're going to go just around this whole outside edge, and we're going to cut them to size in place. You can't totally see the outside there, but that's the idea, right? So I'm going to show you probably do like half the bridge, and then I'll leave you to do the rest of it on your own. So the move is to grab a pencil, and we want to taper these so that they end up being the way we want them. And so what you want to do is bring this right to the corner of the gusset plate, and then kind of cut it back. It's going to get cut back at like an angle so that we can feed in the piece coming from the other direction. And then the same thing would happen going this way. You can take off your some of your pins if they're in the way at all, because you don't really need them as much now. And so then when I get to the bottom here, I'm going to cut back. I can't see that move. You're going to cut back at this line. And before I go too much further, also, don't forget that you have to go through and pop out all of the pieces that you may have repaired from last class. They've been sitting there going. If they're not perfect, you can move on at this point. Like they're not all going to be perfectly perfect. It's not that important. When you cut it, so I just drew that angle and I drew that angle on there. We want to cut it like it's a full piece of wood, meaning don't flatten it out and cut it. Try to do your best to keep it like three-dimensional while you cut it. So it's almost like you're cutting it like it actually is like a piece of wood, which it's not, obviously. So you'll cut it like that, and then you can kind of trim it out a little bit. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom. Right? And then do that there, and then you'll set that in place like that, and it should fit perfect. Now we're going to glue that down, but I'm going to suggest that before you do the next one, you measure out this one. So we're going to leave one end of this nice and open, nice and flat, right? And I'm going to measure it right. I'm going to measure it without the other piece in place. So I'm going to put it right to the corner of that gusset again, right? So if I can get there, it's that point is the one we're trying to match it up with. And then go to the halfway point and measure a line straight down. Okay, now this one we actually can fold it, which makes it a little easier to cut because we're not cutting it at an angle. We won't lose our shape, right? So that is okay there. So now I'm going to glue these in place, and then I'll do the second half. So I got to get a little glue on my page here again. Should be plenty. And just like last time, I'll use my little glue applicator, wherever that went. I need that. All right, so put a little glue on each gusset plate. And then start working to hold it down. You're going to need a little bit bulkier amount of glue, so you might want to try and just put it directly on. You know, with the 4mm bars, they're so small that you really don't need that much. But the tubes have a much bigger surface area, so my little smear technique might not be as effective as it's been, but whatever, I guess. Okay, so we're going to take this one and we're going to put it in place, and we're going to set it on there. We're going to match everything up as perfectly as we can. And then we're going to put the other one, and when we do, I kind of want to try to fit this inside of the other piece, and I just lost that. That's fine. But try to fit it up inside, so when you're thinking about cutting it, that's sort of where your head's at, knowing that you're going to try to do that with these pieces. And so sometimes once it's done, so that's pretty good placement-wise. Sometimes when it's done, you'll have a hard time. It won't set down as well as you'd like it to do. So what you can do is you can take pins and kind of angle them. So it's so hard to see. I'm putting them in the cardboard at like a 45-degree angle or so. Trying to kind of use them to pin the piece down to apply some pressure between the gluing surface on the gusset plate and the member itself. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll let that set overnight. Might get a little more pressure on this one. Okay, so that's half, right? That should be enough information to do the other half. With the 6x6s, there's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we're going to have another straight piece here, another angled piece here. Then we'll grab the other board, and we'll do it again, right? So that was 4. There's 8 of them. So 5, 6, 7, 8. We do not put 6x6s on that part, or the middle. Right? Your 6x6s are your square tubes. Hopefully that makes sense. I will catch all this up, and if you look at the next video, hopefully it's done in time. If you look at the next video, you'll see what the completed product looks like. But until then, good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.